The movie starts on a vibrant Thanksgiving day in a small town where everyone is in a celebratory mood, as the festival marks a day of togetherness and thanks. The town is hosting its annual Thanksgiving festival, and the streets are bustling with joy, decorations, and the sounds of happy voices. Among the residents is the town sheriff, who is making his way to a close friend's house. His friend, a woman married to the local mart manager, welcomes him warmly, and the sheriff brings a thoughtful gift for her, something she truly loves. This gesture showcases their long-standing friendship and highlights the sheriff's kind nature. The woman, happy with the gift, insists he stay and join them for dinner. They sit down together, sharing a meal, and chatting about their lives and the simple pleasures of the holiday. However, things take a turn when her husband, the mart manager, receives a call from his boss, the mart owner. It's a call that disrupts the peaceful holiday. The mart owner demands that the manager come to work immediately, despite it being Thanksgiving. The decision is met with frustration and anger from his wife, who expresses her dismay at the mart owner's lack of respect for the holiday. She argues that it's a day for family and celebration, not for work, especially when so many employees are already being forced to work long hours at the store. At the same time, the mart owner, an affluent businessman, is shown in the comfort of his home, enjoying a lavish meal with his daughter Jessica and her friend Bobby. They are enjoying the relaxed atmosphere of the holiday, unaware of the impending chaos that is about to unfold. The mart owner is preparing for a massive Thanksgiving sale, which he has advertised aggressively. The sale promises huge discounts on products, and this brings large crowds of people to the store, all anxiously waiting for the doors to open. As Jessica and Bobby make their way to the mart, they encounter a chaotic scene outside. The crowd is impatient and anxious to get in, hoping to snag the best deals. Inside, Jessica's college friend, who is also at the mart, greets her. There's an awkward moment as he reveals that he has feelings for her, but the situation quickly escalates when the store employees, recognizing Jessica as the daughter of the mart owner, usher her and her friends inside, bypassing the waiting crowd. This favoritism stirs anger in the people outside, and tensions rise. A few individuals, including a young man and a woman, start shouting in frustration, expressing their displeasure at being ignored. Their anger boils over, and they push against the barrier, causing a stampede of people to rush into the store. The rush is uncontrollable, and it's every person for themselves. People are scrambling to grab items off the shelves as if their lives depend on it. The situation quickly devolves into chaos, with the crowd trampling over each other in their mad dash to get as many items as possible. In the madness, people fall, get injured, and some even die, as the desperation to grab free things outweighs any concern for others' safety. The sheriff's friend, who had been inside the store, is one of the first victims, falling to the ground and suffering a fatal head injury. The violence is shocking, with the bloodshed and chaos painting a grim picture of human greed and desperation. In the aftermath of the massacre, Bobby tries to help an injured man, but in the process, he too becomes a victim of the frantic crowd, his hand being crushed underfoot. Despite the horror unfolding around them, the victims and the survivors show little regard for those perishing, instead only concerned with getting as much as they can. This sense of selfishness and lack of empathy runs through the entire scene. A year later, the town is still haunted by the traumatic events of the previous Thanksgiving. The memories of that day have left an indelible mark on the residents, and many are fearful that the same horrors will repeat themselves. With the anniversary approaching, whispers fill the town, with people expressing their concern over the possibility of another bloodbath at the mart. Jessica, now visibly shaken and scarred by the events she witnessed, is also deeply troubled by the prospect of another sale. She fears that her father's obsession with profit will lead to another disaster, but he refuses to listen to her. The town's fear is justified when the mart owner announces that he plans to open the store again on Thanksgiving, offering another massive sale. Jessica, who feels both helpless and angry, is torn between her loyalty to her father and her desire to prevent another tragedy. Meanwhile, the anger from the previous year has not been forgotten, and the woman who was the most vocal about the sale is now working as a waitress. She bears the physical and emotional scars of the previous year's chaos, and she too fears that the same madness will unfold again. When the sheriff informs her that a new deputy has arrived in town, she becomes suspicious of his intentions. The deputy, a newcomer to the town, discovers a strange mask, which he learns is a tribute to the town's first governor, John. This mask, worn by everyone in the town on Thanksgiving, becomes a symbol of the town's history and its respect for tradition. However, this year, the mask takes on a much darker meaning. Jessica and her friends receive an eerie message from someone named John, who sends them a picture of a table with their names written on it. At first, they dismiss it as a prank, But things take a more sinister turn when Jessica catches sight of a man wearing the governor's mask staring at her. He disappears as quickly as he appeared, leaving Jessica unsettled and fearful. That night, the waitress who had been angry during the previous sale sees the same mask and begins to worry. She tries to make sense of the situation, but before she can, the killer arrives. The killer, wearing the governor's mask, attacks the waitress, first dousing her with water, then trapping her face against a fridge, before retrieving an axe to finish the job. The waitress fights back and manages to escape, but the killer pursues her relentlessly, eventually running her over with a car, severing her body in half. The gruesome display of violence leaves a message for the town. Fear is in the air, and the killer will not stop. As the story continues, Jessica becomes more involved in the investigation. She learns that the killer is targeting those who were involved in the previous massacre, and she is haunted by the possibility that she and her friends are next. She secretly sends the video footage from the previous massacre to the sheriff, hoping it will help track down the killer. In the meantime, the killer continues his spree, leaving behind severed heads and cryptic messages that send the town into a state of panic. The sheriff is determined to stop the killer, but with each death, the mystery only deepens. With the killer's identity still unknown, Jessica and her friends are forced to remain vigilant, constantly on edge as they try to piece together clues. They are soon joined by the gym trainer and cheerleader, both of whom had witnessed the carnage at the mart the previous year. Their involvement leads to more bloodshed, as the killer methodically eliminates those connected to the event. Jessica, desperate to survive, makes a plan to confront the killer. However, just as she thinks she is safe, she realizes that the sheriff, who had been helping her all along, is the true killer. The sheriff reveals his twisted motivation. He is seeking revenge for the death of his beloved, who died during the chaos of the previous year's sale. The sheriff had been planning his killings for months, wearing the governor's mask to hide his identity and make everyone believe it was someone else. As he explains his reasons for the killings, Eric explains that after the death of his wife, he started having an affair with Amanda. She made him very happy and got him out of depression. Amanda was even pregnant with his child and was planning to divorce Mitch, but their promising future came to an abrupt end on that fateful night at Right Mart store. Filled with vengeance, Eric then planned to kill everyone who was responsible for Amanda's death. Jessica manages to secretly record his confession. When the sheriff realizes that Jessica has exposed him, he becomes enraged and tries to finish her off. In a final confrontation, Jessica and her friend Bobby manage to escape, leading the sheriff to chase them. In a dramatic sequence, Jessica uses a gas balloon to create an explosion, seemingly ending the sheriff's reign of terror. However, the true fate of the sheriff is left ambiguous. Although the police find nothing but ashes at the scene, the film ends with a chilling hint that the sheriff may still be alive. In a final dream sequence, Jessica believes she sees the sheriff hiding in her closet, suggesting that the killer may be lurking, ready to strike again. The story concludes with a sense of unease, as the town remains haunted by its past, and the question of whether the sheriff is truly dead remains unanswered.